Hi, this is the voice of Heidie Calero with another economic capsule on the Puerto Rico economy. Don't forget to subscribe in YouTube to our voice of Heidie Calero so that you receive new notifications and analysis of the fascinating economy of Puerto Rico. Today we're going to talk about what it has been a long-lasting underlying current in Puerto Rico during the past decade. And that is that Puerto Rico has been losing population. Today we are going also to contact that or correlate it with the public debt. As you know, in 2015, towards October, the then governor, Garcia Padilla, announced to the world that Puerto Rico could not pay the service of it on its public debt, and all hell broke loose. As a result of that, under Obama administration, Puerto Rico was under the Congress-mandated law of PROMESA, Puerto Rico Oversight Fiscal Board, and one of its tasks was to renegotiate this public debt and allow Puerto Rico the cover and the protection of bankruptcy under federal law, even though it's not called bankruptcy but Title III. And it's only the fiscal board, the one that can represent Puerto Rico, the people of Puerto Rico, for this bankruptcy protection. Unfortunately, we have not heard a lot in terms of the fiscal board on its success or lack of success in terms of renegotiating its public debt. We've only heard of one, COFINA, the renegotiated debt with the payment of the sales and use tax that's being paid, that service. It's not the best deal, but it was one that went through and was finally approved. Other minor ones, but then the big one has been the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority, and we still don't know what's happening with it because at this time then the pandemic of COVID-19 came into bearing and things have sort of paralyzed. And let's bear in mind that it's 4 years that we've seen the Puerto Rico PROMESA board and little success has been shown in terms of their progress. But today I want to depict the impact of population, this reduction in population, and how that can really impact the debt of the 78 municipalities, the public debt of the 78 municipalities. Notice in this first map that I am depicting here, those municipalities that are in brown are large municipalities in terms of population and in terms of their share, in terms of the public debt of all the 78 municipalities, which as of 2020 amounted to $2.5 billion. Bear in mind that 3 years ago, in 2017, it was this public debt of the municipalities amounted to $3.7 billion. So overall, during this period, it's been a reduction of 12% yearly in the public debt of these municipalities. Now, let's look at the smaller municipalities, because we wanted to find out which municipalities have really lowered the principal on their public debt. And notice these small municipalities in terms of population. These represent these municipalities that are in red. They are either in the mountain or in some of the coast, from even Culebra or the west coast, or even the northern coast of Puerto Rico and in the middle part of the island. These represent 5% of the population, yet they account for 1% of public debt. Now let's look at some correlations which we wanted to find out, and look at what happens with these smaller municipalities that I depicted in this map. On the horizontal axis, we have the loss of population from 2017 through 2020. Notice the vertical axis of this graph. It depicts the reduction in public debt. And notice these are double digits. So there is an inverse relationship. The more loss in terms of population, the lower the reduction. And this is double-digit reduction in the public debt of these municipalities. So there is an inverse relationship. The lower the loss, or the more the loss in population, losing more population, does not enable these smaller municipalities to reduce substantially their public debt. Now let's look at the 6 municipalities, which are the larger municipalities that I depicted in the first graph that I showed before, against, again, the same horizontal axis with the loss of population and the same vertical axis in terms of reduction of public debt of these municipalities. And notice that here there is a positive relationship, but notice this reduction is much lower than the one that we depicted for the smaller municipalities. And here, even though these municipalities are losing population, they are still able to reduce that public debt in minor fashion because it is a lower level. But what it depicts is that the larger municipalities have other instruments. They have larger budgets, they have larger populations, they can really deal more with the reduction or payment in this public debt, which, by the way, it's not that all these 78 municipalities are so disciplined that they think that they should really pay down their public debt. It's the mechanism to really pay that public debt. It's retained by the central government, be it AFAV or the other agency, the heir of the Government Development Bank. So on that score, these municipalities are feeling the impact of population, and that is an important lesson to consider for the Puerto Rico Oversight Board, the Fiscal Promesa Board, because you cannot put all the 78 municipalities in one basket. They are different and they have different consequences. In our next capsule of next Thursday, we are going to talk about a very interesting and fascinating subject, and that is the new regulation by the Office of the Insurance Commissioner regarding the insurance policies for condominiums and what it will entail in terms of Puerto Rico's residents. Thank you.